Good morning. Now, hopefully the other rooms aren't listening to me talk. Good morning. Thank you for being here. My name's Dwana with Pet Friendly Services, and this session is Marketing and Major Gifts 101. We're in room C. Make sure you're in the right place. And I'm happy to introduce Kendall Paul. Kendall is the CEO of the Vanderburg Humane Society, where she has worked for more than 30 years. Under her leadership, the organization has expanded programs, increased life-saving rates, and grown its community impact. She holds a background in public relations and fundraising and is a leader in advancing animal welfare in her region. During her tenure with the organization, the VHS live release rate has gone from 41% to 93%. Yeah. So please welcome Kendall Paul.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. And thank you for that. That was very kind of you. And we're very proud of that live release rate. But I don't judge all shelters on their live release rate. So please don't think that I do that, because everybody's working hard and not everybody is in the position to do that, depending upon your background and your community and where you are in your organization yet. So goals, but not something to judge other shelters solely on. So that's a soapbox thing. Sorry. All right. Well, I'm Kendall, and thank you so much for spending your time with me this morning. And we're going to start by just talking a little bit about kind of the basics of some marketing and turning that into philanthropy. Yeah, go right ahead. All right, thank you. So the first thing I want to just discuss a little bit about where gifts are coming from. And I hope that a lot of you already do a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about today. But hopefully you'll just be able to pick up at least something that you can take away with you. But the first thing to discuss is a little bit about where the gifts are coming from. And you can take a look and see that over the $592 billion donated in 2024, look at that breakdown. And I want you to think about your program and where you're spending your time in development. Because it's very, very easy for all of us to say, let's ask that business if they want to give us something. Let's put a sponsorship together. Let's go try to find a grant, that we can focus on, in our community. And those things have their place. Foundations and corporate giving, they have certainly we've seen an increase in corporate giving the last year or two, which is really great. So that definitely has a place. But when you look at this graph, where do you need to be spending your time? And you need to be spending your time with individual donors. That is your bread and butter of shelter work. And I know that's sometimes hard, because it's hard to think about just going and asking somebody for a gift. But if you're focusing so much on events and sponsorships and what grant can you write next and where can you grab this dollar or that dollar, and you're leaving out your supporters and your donors, your organization is not going to grow and it's not going to thrive. So when you're thinking about your development time, you really need to be thinking about this. And I know for some of you in the room, that means a team. You have a team of people that are working on this. And for others of you, it's just you. And that's really, really hard when you're trying to do it all and you only have a few people. But that's when you really need to focus on where you're spending your time. And to get the most bang for your buck, your time needs to be spent on the individual donors and the people that are supporting your cause. So here's your donor pyramid, and this is something that I think is really helpful for people to understand when they're looking at raising money for their organization. So the pyramid itself, you have that prospect donor level, which is the bottom heavy part of the pyramid. That is where the majority of your donors are going to lie, is in that bottom couple of sectors there. Those are first-time donors and prospect donors, and that's where you're going to have the lion's share of them. You're going to have the most people in those categories. But the most money is going to come from the top of the pyramid, and you're going to have a lot fewer of those people, but they're going to give you more money than the combined of all the people on the bottom. So it's extremely important for you to think about your donors and how you're getting them and what you're doing with them, when you have them. Because if you're not moving them up that pyramid, then you're just cycling donors in and cycling donors out. So once you acquire a donor, you need to think about, how am I stewarding this donor? How am I showing them what we're using their funding for? How am I getting them more involved within our organization so I can continue to see them climb? Now, your prospect donors is where you're going to spend the most money. So you're going to spend about $1.50 for every dollar that you raise in that bottom level. It costs a lot more to get a donor than it does to retain a donor. So you still have to prospect, because if you don't, then through attrition and just over time, your donor list will dry up. So you have to focus on getting prospect donors. But the biggest portion of your time needs to be from taking those people from that first-time donor level up into the next level and then on up, where you can start to talk about real money for your organization with major gifts, special projects, capital campaign contributions of a good significant number, and then the ultimate is that planned gift. Planned gifts can just be an amazing thing. You can't budget for it, so that's really hard to budget for a planned gift. I think I have a donor who she always just winks at me and says, I'm worth a lot more to you dead than I am alive. And I'm like, I know, Doris, I know you are, but I love you, and I'm happy for you to stay around as long as you can. But it's having that kind of a relationship and really getting to know those people that is going to take those people up that ladder. And then that gift is going to be a lasting gift, for you and for your organization to be able to use. So this is a really important thing to consider, is just where your donors are. So it's a good idea to evaluate your data. Data is extremely important, and you need to really look at where your gifts are coming from. I hope you're able to have a donor software system. If you don't, please look at some of them that are out there and not just do it like on paper or in Excel or something like that. Find a system that's going to work for you, that's going to allow you to make notes on these donors. Does Doris have a cat? Is she really a cat person? What does she really love? So that I can know things about that person. When's their birthday? So I can send them a birthday message. What are those things that we know about this person that we know that if we have an ask, we can match it to the right person, in our database. So finding a donor software, even some of the more or less expensive ones and things, if you have a small database, there's a lot of them that are available out there. I think make sure that you're trying to use one so that you can really start to grow those numbers. All right, so where it all starts is with that basic marketing. We really have to market our organizations in order to get that first level, get people to go to that first level. And so the first thing to think about when you're marketing is you're trying to find adopters, obviously. You're trying to raise awareness. You're trying to attract donors. And we're trying to recruit volunteers. And so the types of things that you do within your organization is going to allow you to do that. And so not talking about like big marketing budgets and big advertising budgets, the place that you have to start is your organization itself. What is your reputation of your organization in your community? Are you the agency that when something comes up, you're the expert in your community? If the media needs to know something, are they calling you? Are they contacting your organization? Because then that's going to spread that message out there. How are your relationships with your adopters? Are your adopters happy when they leave? Are your adopters frustrated when they leave? Do they not adopt and come back because they had a negative experience? It's very, very easy for us in the shelter world to get very protective of those animals. We love them. We're the ones that are there. We're putting in the blood, sweat, and tears for them. We're foster parents, and we are the ones taking care of those pets every day. But you have to make sure that it's not to the fault of denying somebody that opportunity to come into your shelter to adopt. Is it super complicated to adopt with you? Do you have a bunch of hoops they have to jump through? Do you have to call 3 people and get tons of references to make sure they can take that animal home? How much paperwork do they fill out? All of those things are factoring into that person's experience. And if they have a negative experience when they walk in your door because somebody's condescending, somebody's not pleasant, they don't just get a good feel when they walk into your organization, they're not going to turn in to that bottom level of that donor pyramid. And guess what? They're going to go to somebody else. Or if you've denied that adoption they're just going to go get an animal somewhere else. They're going to go get one free from somebody. They're going to have somebody in their neighborhood. Wouldn't it be much, much better for us, in improving our reputations of our organization, to find ways to put animals into those homes and help by giving those people the right tools they need to be successful pet owners? And if something doesn't work out with that pet, being the resource that they come back to for help. If they've had a negative experience with your organization, they're never going to come ask you for help again. They're going to just do it on their own. They're going to do it poorly. They're going to go someplace else. You need to be the agency. If they take an animal home and it doesn't work out, that is okay, because we want the right fit. And if we didn't help them make the right fit for that animal, then let's try to find something different. Or what went wrong? Where is that? Same thing with any interaction that's going on at your front counter. Is it somebody who wants to come in to donate? How easy is it to do that? Are your people trained properly? Do they have it come in because they want to ask a question about something? How much of a resource are you in your community? Because if you're not the place to go, if you don't have the strong reputation, no one is going to start you on that pyramid and keep your donations flowing. So it's very important that we start with that kind of thing. Client interactions, I kind of just went over a lot of this. Bright, friendly, making sure that everybody is knowledgeable, that your teamwork, that team is there, they know what their customer service skills are. I know at our shelter for years, when I first started as a kennel tech, we had the grumpiest lady at the front counter. And she didn't mean to be. She just came off very hateful. And it's like, she had a lot of good things to offer, but meeting the public probably wasn't the right one. So once we moved her into another environment where she could thrive, well, man, those calls of complaining dropped considerably because she was just coming off really negatively. And that's not what you want. You want everybody to be welcome. If you walk into a store and somebody doesn't say, hello, welcome, thank you, all of those things, you walk out not having a super positive relationship, with that store. And, maybe you'll go back, maybe you won't. But the same thing applies, and we have to think of it like that. So keeping those positive interactions, being the resource in your community, that's really what you want to be. So the basics of kind of that basic marketing: invest in a strong website, direct mail, email campaigns, events, using as many social media platforms as you possibly can, and then, of course, utilizing your local TV, radio, print, media, billboards, all of those types of things. What is one of the first things that gets cut when we're trying to balance our budget? Marketing. We don't need that much. We can just use social media. It's free. We need to put the money towards the animals. Sure you do. But where's that money coming from? If you're not marketing your organization, if you're not promoting your organization, you're not bringing in the dollars that you can then take those dollars and do something with the animals. So you have to find good ways that you can use your money, marketing. But, I get it. We can't all have, $100,000 marketing budget, But having something that you are, a plan, a strategy to make sure that you are marketing your organization and it's not getting kind of lost in the shuffle. Website is key. We're revamping ours right now because it doesn't have some of the features that we really need it to have. You need to have a strong website. That is the first landing place for most people in your community, is going to your website. Not everybody, but a lot of people are going to start there. So you want it to be vibrant. You want it to have good, clean, pictures. You want it to have very easy buttons to find. The main thing is, does it have a donate button that's going to immediately pop out, that's going to be on every single page, that you might have a light box that pops up and asks them for that donation? You have to think about those types of things, because I was looking at ours and thought it was great, and we were talking to somebody, and he's like, you really ought to have a donate button on this page. I'm like, well, we do. It's up in the collar. It's a part of the dog tag. It's really cute. He goes, didn't even realize that was a button. Well, I thought it was cute. I thought it looked great. If the donor doesn't perceive it as a button, then it's not serving its purpose. So sometimes you have to have people outside of the people inside your organization looking at those kind of things, because they're going to notice things that maybe you just are taking for granted. But making sure that you have it mobile ready, that's a big thing too. So many people are not just going to a computer anymore. It's on their phone. So if you haven't looked at your website in a while, take a look at it on your phone and see, can you toggle through everything? Do the pictures come up full? Does it cut off things? Make sure that your website is mobile ready. Make sure that you have loads of pictures and videos. You have staff and volunteers and your team members who are all carrying cameras in their pockets. It is not hard to get photos at your shelter. So make sure that you are finding time to do that, or find somebody within your database or your volunteer group that loves to take photos. There's a lot of people out there who have great cameras still, and they love to come take photos. Get those photos, because that is really what's going to sell your organization and sell the types of programs that you're offering, as well as those individual animals. If you're taking pictures of animals, make sure they've got really good, clean background. It's not really muddled. Don't take pictures through wires and through, caging. Make sure you get those animals out. Make sure that those people can picture that animal in their home. But utilizing great pictures and videos is going to be how those adopters are really connecting with you first. Is this a place that I want to come? Is this a place that I want to come and visit with these animals? Making sure you have resources. Like you said, you want to be the resource in your community. So if they need to know something about an animal, even if it's not a service that you provide, having a resource page where they can easily go, or you can direct people to find other people or groups in your area that can offer those services is really, really important. And make sure you're utilizing your Google and your Apple business accounts. It's not overly complicated, but claim your page. Make sure you're on there so your organization is on the map, that it has your proper hours updated. Make sure that it has accurate phone numbers and emails associated with it, so that anybody who's seeking you out can find you. So many organizations are not utilizing those things, and they're there for us to do. So make sure you're utilizing those accounts. Make sure you have a lot of transparency, on your website. You want to make sure that they know that you're giving them all of the information. Your 990, any audit that you have, your board of directors, your team, different policies, privacy policies, or different policies that you have within your organization, those should be accessible on your website, because that's also how you're going to get ranked by places like Charity Navigator. They're going to look at your website and make sure you have all of those things in place, and then they're going to rank your organization. And donors who have money to give take those kind of things seriously. They want to make sure that the organization that they're giving to has the capacity and has the reputation and has the ability to steward their gift and to use it in the best way. All right, direct mail and email campaigns. Okay, there we go. Is it coming up? Maybe? There we go. Reaching a large group of people, tangible, with a longer staying power. Includes pictures and stories and a call to action. High response rates. You can include acquisition mailings and lapsed. You can do this in-house or work with the company. I know that's not great because a lot of people don't want to spend the money, but a direct mail company can make all of the difference. Making sure that you have a way to track what is coming in. So, for a long time, we were all like, let's just jump onto email because email is not going to cost us a lot. But think about your personal emails. How many have multiple email addresses? Yeah, everybody's got multiple. Is one of them like your Yahoo or Hotmail account where all of your coupons go to die? Yes. So guess what? If they signed up with your organization and they happen to use that email, they're not seeing your emails because they're all going into that old email folder. They're not getting opened. So you have to make sure that you've got emails that are being opened and find ways that you can track that open rate. And there are some different programs out there that'll help you do that as well. But you do want to make sure that you're capturing good email addresses when you're with your clients and your donors. That way you can stay in contact with them easily, maybe a monthly newsletter, maybe a specific ask. Something big just happened. We want you to know first before we put it out there to the public, making them feel like they are on the inside. They have that direct communication with the shelter. We're contacting them first. But because emails are so everywhere right now, going back to snail mail actually has a benefit. Those direct mail pieces that come to their physical house that they walk inside with can make a big difference. Our direct mail company is called TrueSense. Just a quick shout out to them. If you don't have one, they're one to look at. They are really wonderful. We have seen really wonderful growth through our direct mail. We've seen a lot of renewed and lapsed gifts for people that we hadn't heard from in a while, and now all of a sudden they're back in our donor base because we refreshed those gifts and got them back involved. Now it's our responsibility, once we have them back, to not lose them again. So somewhere along the line, we didn't do our due diligence with that donor, and they have just gone about their business. So now it's time for us to really take care of that and bring them back. But making sure that you're considering these when you're marketing your organization. It's not only a way to bring in funds, but it's really a great way for people to get to know you, because they're not going to donate to you if they don't know who you are. And if everything they always see about you is code red, they're just going to stop listening. They're not going to listen to you if that's anything. They want to hear about the programming that you're doing. They want to hear about the services that you're offering in the community. They want to see that individual dog that you helped. Instead of, we're so full and we have all of these, break that down to one animal. Showcase that one animal that really has a need. Let them connect with that. Instead of a giant number of 400, now we have one that we're focusing on. And how can we help that one? So really thinking about your messaging and what's going to maybe draw them to you. So direct mail and email campaigns are definitely things that you need to be focused on as well. Social media, friend and enemy. We love it, we hate it. Can be fantastic. Definitely use as many social media platforms as you possibly can. It's very important that you're not only using Facebook. Facebook may be king or meta right now, but that is not where a lot of younger people are. And, I have a 27-year-old and a 23-year-old, and the only reason the 23-year-old has a Facebook account is because I made it, and just so I could tag him in photos. He's never been on Facebook one time in his life. So I would never reach him if all I ever did was post on that particular account. So you have to find other ways in other social media. You've got people in your organization or involved in your organization who know what's trending, who know what's out there, who knows where people are. Let them find ways to get your messaging out there on those apps as well. Those individuals may not be the people with a lot of disposable income right now, but they might be someday. So the good thing is that you're getting them early. You want them to know who you are, understand, realize that you're the agency in the community for them to support. Be responsive. Make sure you're using it to, inform and entertain. Try not to be argumentative. It's very, very hard to stop being argumentative sometimes. Try to educate and inform without, getting downright rude. But every once in a while, that's just going to happen. There's going to be people that you just cannot please. There's nothing that they are going to say or you're going to say that's going to make any difference, and you just have to let that go. Oftentimes you'll find if you have a strong social media following, your supporters will jump in, and they'll be the one to start correcting the situation and shutting down the person, and you can just step back and say, well, we didn't say that. That was so-and-so who said that. But making sure that you are, interacting and utilizing all types of social media. We do TikTok. And one of the things that we started doing when we bought a cat cafe, and so that was great in 2019, the winter, great time to get into the cafe business, right before 2020. And but we started when we would take the cats down. It's only about 6 or 7 minutes from our facility. We would take the cats down, and we would just use the cardboard carriers that you're going to send them home with, and we take those down. And then we do unboxing videos. So we set up a camera, somebody's taking it, and somebody's just opening the boxes, and the cats are jumping out, and they're telling a little bit about them, and it's just a fun unboxing video. And we've done that since 2019. And all of a sudden, this last year, one influencer shared or reposted our post, made a comment on it, and then, whoa, the followers on that page just immediately jumped up. Now all of a sudden, these videos are getting millions of views. And they're just an unboxing video. We're not doing anything clever or fun. We're just opening the box. Now, we do have to fight with the same people over and over who tell us that those boxes are inhumane, and how dare we transport cats in those boxes. It's like, right, the boxes that are designed and made for travel for cats, yeah, okay. But we signed up for the creator program, And if you're doing that, make sure that you're doing that on the social media platforms that you're on. And 2 days ago, I got a check for $1,900 from TikTok. Yeah. So, and that's not the first. We're seeing about $1,000 a month at least coming in through TikTok. Not all of the videos do that. Some of them just fail, and the videos have to be at least a minute long in order for that to count. But when they do, or if you find one, you might as well be in that program and be able to make money on that. We get money from Meta. We get money from TikTok, So those things are important for you to pay attention to. And when you're all on social media, it needs to be a nice blend of, promoting your organization and your programs and the animals. And also, don't take yourself too seriously. Not everything can be doom and gloom. Not everything should be the, Sarah McLachlan videos. You need to make sure that they're fun and that people find them entertaining and that you seem relatable. So here's one that we did that got a lot of traction. Can I turn the volume up? Anybody know? All right, well, we don't have to focus on it too long, but you can get the idea. We did a car sales video, just being silly, really kind of marketing our animals as that we were doing an adoption event and a sales event, and then we marketed all the dogs as different things. So, we had, floor models, boom, all different makes and models of cats, compact models, full size, low mileage, sports models. All of them come with 4-paw drive. Well, almost all of them. Are you looking for an import, an exotic? We've got those too. All of them come certified, pre-owned, fixed, vaccinated. They come with a warranty. We have railroad tracks. How many are by railroad tracks? I mean, I feel like all shelters are by railroad tracks. So just a fun video, just a way, and we got so much traction on that. Just being fun and silly and people getting a kick out of it. Yeah. So, things like that can be fun. Thank you. Now, this one is super short and went so crazy. You can't hear it, but this is one of those, touch me again, and I'll tell you who I really am. I guess I look a lot like a Karen, so they thought I was going to be a Karen. And then I turned out with a puppy, and ta-da, let me tell you all about our shelter. And that got 8 million views on TikTok, another multiple million views on Facebook. A bunch of other influencers started sharing it, so on their own sites it got millions of views. We started getting in donations from Australia. All kinds of places were sending us money, which is really fun. So again, not where I would spend a ton of my time. That last video took us all of 2 minutes to go out and shoot. We saw, hey, this is a trend. I think we can do this. We walked outside. I said, grab a puppy. We did it. I said it. It was finished. We posted it. We forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, the thing took off. So don't spend a ton of time doing these things, but make sure that you're interacting enough with the different types of social media so that they can get involved. No, I'm past it now. It's okay. It's okay. That's all right. I gave them the gist. Great photos and videos. Like I said a while ago, make sure that you're getting those, that they're on your website, that every animal on your site that is up for adoption has a photo that is included. Make sure that you've got people when they're taking animals out and they're playing with them, when you're doing enrichment, grab those and utilize them on your site. This is how you're marketing your organization. They're going to see your agency and feel like, this is a place I can go. Oh, I really think that place looks clean. Oh, that place looks like they take really good care of their animals. I want to go and get my animal from there. Billboards and TV and radio, still a much a place for them, because you know what? We can't take an ad out in the paper anymore like we used to back in my day. It is really hard to capture everybody because everybody is watching different channels. Everybody has 50 million websites they're on. They're not even watching local TV. They're streaming, so they're not even getting a lot of local news anymore. How are you reaching them? Well, billboards is definitely a way that you can do that. I know this doesn't probably work for everybody. I know in our community, there is an ordinance that indicates that the billboard cannot sit empty. So a billboard company cannot leave a billboard sit empty. They have to have something up there. So we pay for, and it costs us a couple $1,000s to produce one of these vinyls, but then they post it for us for free. And those vinyls last sometimes a couple of years. And so though we never know where that billboard's going to be, but it's going to be on some billboard that was sitting empty because by our ordinance, they can't just let those billboards sit stale. That doesn't work for the poster size ones, which are smaller, which are like paper, but for the big vinyl ones, they will put them up and they'll rotate them around our community. So we have a couple of different ones promoting different things that we will have in our area. But we don't have to pay a monthly fee or based on, how much it would normally cost somebody because we're serving as the PSA for them to post it. So that's something easy to look into. Certainly still utilize your local media as much as you can. Be the resource that they call when there's something going on in your community, when they need to know something about an animal, when they want to do a story. Make sure you're the agency. Put out press releases. Make sure they have your number. Make sure you're the one that is accessible to them so that those people who are still watching local news, who probably have more disposable income than the people who are just streaming, will remember you. So make sure those people are not missing you because you're focusing so much time on other things. All right, we're going to slide a little bit into the major gift area and just plan giving and just kind of gifts in general. Why don't people give? You better believe it. They were not asked. That is the absolute number one reason people do not give to your organization. You didn't ask them. And why didn't they give again? Because you didn't thank them. How many of us get bogged down in the day-to-day and we stop and we just I'll get back to that later, and you don't end up thanking that donor. You don't write that thank you note. You don't send that email. You don't get a message back to that person. Well, to think about it, you buy your niece a gift. You think it's cool. You wrap it up. You mail it to her, and you never hear anything. You don't know if she got it. You don't know if she liked it, even if she didn't like it and just said she liked it. You don't know anything, and you feel frustrated. You feel a little irritated. Why couldn't she have at least texted me and or said, hey, got your gift, thank you? That's all it would have taken. And that is exactly how your donors feel if you're not thanking them. Why should they give to you again, if you did not thank them the first time, or if you did not tell them where their money is going and how that money was important? So making sure that you are asking, that you are thanking, and that you are showing them where their gifts are going. Evaluate your development plan. Make sure that if you're using a donor software, this is where that comes in really handy. When a gift gets entered, preferably within 48 hours. I know that is a joke to a lot of people because it's really hard to get those done. Preferably within 48 hours, make sure that gift is entered. And that system can maybe generate a receipt with a thank you note that is going out to them, either to their email, if they've given you their email address, or by mail. That way, at least everybody who is giving you something is getting something back. And then internally, have a system. There's no hard rules to it, but you might say, look, for every gift over $250 or every gift over $100, this person is going to write a hand thank you note to them. For everything over $500, I'm writing a hand thank you note to that person. If it's over $1,000, I'm calling them. They're getting a phone call from me the second I see that gift. I'm going to stop and I'm going to call. And the amount of people who are like, oh my gosh, well, that was so nice of you to call. Thank you so much. Oh, we're so happy. We love what your organization does. Gives us a chance to really just engage with that person. So having some sort of a system where you are sending out thank you notes to these people is critical because they're not going to give to you again. We send annual statements. Make sure you're doing that at the end of the year where you're sending a statement to everybody who gave to you so they have a record of everything they gave. And we always include our infographic so they can see where all that money went. Fun, fresh, cute, two-sided little infographic. This is how many pets we fixed. This is how many pets we adopted. This is how many pounds of food we gave away. All those types of things on that graphic goes right back out to them. So that way, they know where that money is going. And that's how you can also utilize email. You get a great gift from somebody, wonderful. You can then send them some pictures of where you specifically used that money, if it was something special, via their email or just, however you want to get those to them. Great way to just say thank you. If you don't take anything else away today, thank your donors and ask. I know Rob is going to come up next, and he's going to talk to you a lot about major gifts and stuff too, so I don't want to step on a lot of his, but I'll run through just some of the basics for you. So when you're looking at bringing those donors up the ladder, it doesn't happen overnight. If you have a big campaign or you have something that's going, you can't just say, what if we wrote Oprah a letter? What if we found the biggest person in our community, and we sent them a letter? If they don't know you, if they've never talked to you before, the chances are they're not going to give you anything, at least not a gift of the size they probably could give. So it takes time. You have to develop that relationship. Back when I'm thinking about thank you notes, I also involve my board members in those. Sometimes board members don't know what to do. And I know some of you might be board members, and I appreciate that you're here because that is the first step, is showing up. But sometimes board members just don't know what they need to do for the development. They don't know how to ask. They don't know how they can get involved. Have them write thank you notes. Anytime I get a large gift in, I immediately send that out to my board. Who will take this? And if more than one wants to take it, great. Let them get 2 thank you notes. But then that way, that donor who's giving us that gift, it's not just Kendall, who's been around for 30 years that they know. They're getting something from the board. So they know it's not just me or Amanda, from our development. It is a board member who thinks highly enough of them. And that's something easy. They're not asking anybody for something. They're thanking them. And then that way they know who our board members are and they see involvement, which is also very important. So it develops over time. Your prospects for any major gift is found in your donor database. You're not going to generally find that gift out there to ask that you've never had any contact. Sometimes it can happen, but most of the time it's going to be from people that you have in your database. The size of the gift is going to be relative to that donor and relative to the organization, so you kind of need to get to know your donors. What is a large gift from them? What's the largest gift they've ever given you? Have you done your research? Do they give other places large gifts? Have you looked at other annual reports and seen their name? Okay, well, they're also giving to the university. Okay, well, they may have more capacity, There are also great tools at your library where you can go and you can actually, look up and kind of see giving, and you can look at wealth and things like that, and that helps you kind of target this as well. A lead gift in an annual, a special project gift, or a capital gift, are all a part of this kind of category. And then you have to ask yourself and your team, are you ready? Can you handle those gifts when they come in? Somebody may want to donate not just cash. Are you prepared to take stocks? You should be. Are you promoting IRAs and where they have to automatically at a certain age start to give? Are you saying, hey, we're here? We're one of those places that you can do that with. Making sure that you're working with a brokerage firm and you have an easy thing that if an attorney calls or another financial person calls and says, so-and-so would like to make a gift, absolutely. Here's our accounting information. This is how you make that gift. And then that way you've got stocks, or you may have bonds, or you may, have a variety of different things. Be prepared to take, real estate. Be careful with real estate. You got to make sure that it's not something that somebody's just dumped a whole bunch of hexavalent chromium or something on. It's got to be something that you can utilize, but they might want to donate a vehicle that you can sell, or they may have tangible or intangible gifts that they want to give to you. And you need to think those things through. Are we prepared? If somebody wants to give that, how do I do that? And not just go, I don't know. So make sure you have those things ready first. Making your case. This is extremely important when you are going to ask for any gift, but a major gift in particular. What is the unique benefit that you are providing to the community? And you should ask yourself that as an organization too, because there are a lot of organizations, and many of us share space, in our communities. What is unique about us that differentiates us from them? What's exciting? What's coming up? Let that person be on the inside. Let them know something that the general public doesn't know. Make them feel like they're a part of kind of that decision-making process. What are the accomplishments you've had? What the unique opportunities that you're facing? And how that major gift can be involved. Organizational readiness. When you're thinking about that, so many groups, when they're thinking about a capital campaign, first of all, God, don't build a building. They're a black hole. Do something else. Don't house animals. That's a terrible idea. Okay? Terrible idea. Do spay and neuter. Do services in the community that you can offer to help people keep their animals. Building a shelter is awful. But if you have one and you've got a shelter and you're wanting to build one, make sure that when you're asking yourself, are we ready to do this campaign for whatever the project is, make sure that you have leadership buy-in, that you have that case statement, you know what that goal is, and you know where your database is sitting. And before you launch things to the public, you really should have about 80% of your goal. So don't start a capital campaign for $2 million and you've got $50,000 in the bank, and now you start asking people for money publicly. Hey, we're going to build a building. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Because the gifts you're going to get coming in are like $100, $25, $50, and that takes a really long time to get to that $2 million. So you want to do things with private gifts privately first, with the big donors. They're on the inside. You're going to them. Maybe you've done a feasibility study. You're giving them the opportunity to give to you at a larger level, and then that's going to trigger more larger gifts, because maybe that person will allow you to use their name, or you can at least say, we just secured a gift of $100,000 and we were hoping that you might match that. Whatever that might be, you want to have about 80% of all that money accounted for in pledges, or you have it before you ever announce it to the rest of the world, because those gifts will start really deteriorating. And somebody might be a lot more apt to send in $100 if they know that you're really close to meeting that goal. It's really hard to get excited about meeting a goal when you've got the entire amount that you have to raise. So you really want to make sure that you're not just putting that out there. Kind of an 8-step cycle in the donors. You identify that donor, probably within your own database. What's the quality of that donor? What's their history of giving with you? What kind of relationship do you have with them? Have you developed them? Do you have somebody that knows them better than you do? Is there a board member that has a better contact that at least they could go with you so that they're in on that? Develop that strategy of how you're going to ask. You've cultivated that ask, and then you're going to solicit, negotiate. Is this going to be a one-time gift? Is it going to be a pledge? Are they going to do it over multiple years? You're going to acknowledge that with a big thank you. You're going to steward that gift properly, and then you're going to renew that gift and go back, and that means you're going to start all over again. Who gave to us? We're identifying. What did they give us? What kind of quality is that donor? Let's come up with another strategy. This is how they supported us in the past, and so on and so on. It is just a big cycle, and these are the steps that you want to take so that you're really securing that you're going to get the maximum gift from that individual. I just talked about this a little bit. Forgot I had a slide. Cash, securities, real property, tangible personal property, intangible personal property, life insurance policies, charitable annuities, remainder trusts. If you don't know what some of these are and how you can accept some of these for your organization, get with a financial advisor. Find one. Maybe some of your board members have one that they really like. Find one in your community that can do really well. And let them sit down and explain these things to you and how they can maybe even come in and put on like a little session, for some of your donors. Invite them. Say, we have a financial advisor. We'd like you to come. And they're going to talk to you about all the different types of ways that you can support our agency, because we know you love us and we want to make sure that we're giving you every opportunity. And let them come in and let them learn about these types of things. But make sure you're meeting with somebody so that they know, that you know exactly how you can accept all of these gifts. Donor solicitation effectiveness, basically awareness, general awareness of the brand, special events, and please, for the love of God, soapbox here, use Canva or something else instead of just AI. All your posters look the same. They all look the same. If you're just putting a bunch of AI slop on your website or AI, posters or graphics, they all look just like the ones who are doing it 2 blocks down the road. Canva is free. Nonprofits can get Canva Pro for free. Find somebody to use it. I'm an old publisher girl, and I know they're going to take it away from me in the fall, and they're going to have to pry it out of my hands. But find ways that you can produce stuff. AI is going to play a role in our lives, but let's not. You have pictures. You have dogs. Don't generate an AI picture of a dog when you've got beautiful dogs to take pictures of. So back off my soapbox. So you can kind of see, though, this is the solicitation effectiveness of all the things that we kind of talked about. Generic phone, text solicitation, a personal letter. You don't feel quite up to asking somebody yet? Write them a letter. Write them a letter with an ask. A personal phone call, personalized letter, and then a personal face-to-face. And any big gift is going to have to come in that last box. If you're talking to somebody about major gifts, it's going to have to be face-to-face. And you have to remember, you're not asking to line your own pockets. You're asking for the mission. All they can say, the absolute worst thing they can say is no. That is the worst thing they can say to you. So don't be scared. Go in, ask for that gift. All right. Same kind of thing with planned giving. There are going to be those gifts that are going to drop out of the sky, that manna from heaven. All of a sudden you find out you've been left in a will. You don't even know this person. But they knew you. Why? Because of all that marketing you did. Somehow along the way, they knew your organization. They knew that you were the organization who had stability in your community, that you've been there for a long time, that you have the support of the community. And that way, they felt comfortable enough to leave a gift to you. A lot of these you can know about in advance. Make a note of that in your donor database. Keep stewarding that person, because those things can be changed. So make sure you're taking care of that. But you want to have that positive reputation, a stable organization. You've got to have a strong donor database, and all of those things in that you can accept. And then my last thing is focus on the needs of the donor, not on the neediness of the organization. Say thank you. And then these are just some of my resources. So, don't think about how needy you are. Think about what that donor needs. What are they getting out of it? What can you ask them that matches with their interests? What is something that they do that you can go to them and think, hey, this is really going to be a good match for this particular donor? Is it their job? Is it that they like cats or particular dogs? Whatever that is. Focus on what they need to be able to give to you, not how needy you are. And then, like I said, say thank you. That is the number one thing. And so with that, I will say thank you and ask if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Kendall.
Thank you, Kendall. I do have a question. We're a new nonprofit organization, and so building marketing techniques and building relationships and networking within our community has been difficult. What would you recommend for going out and developing these relationships in regards to that?
Consistency. Make sure that you are consistent. Make sure that you are putting out, if you have something that you want to say, that you're putting that out to the media or to social media. Sometimes you can actually, it's not a bad idea to even pay a little bit on like Meta to put your mission or put your event or whatever you're doing in front of a new audience, because so few people actually see your posts. Yes, you might have followers on that social media platform, but they're not seeing all of it because of the algorithm. So yes, they may hear about it another way from you, but somebody who doesn't know you, well, maybe you're going to pay, and you can actually pick that demographic, and you can actually pick that area where you're pushing that out to. So that means a lot more people are going to see that, just to get your name out there. Having a strong website and really kind of pushing people towards that and making sure that you're the resource in the community, okay?
Hi, I was just curious, what type of events do you feel like are most successful and kind of worth the money and time?
Of course, adoption events are great, and everybody loves an adoption event, and we all have to do them because, and those aren't even planned sometimes. Those are like, Jesus Christ, we are so full right now. Can we have an adoption event? Can we get something up really quickly to do half off on cats and dogs? Those things are going to happen. But when you're looking at other types of events, having some that are smaller that everybody can get access to. Like we do a fall festival because it's a huge thing in Evansville, and we have a food booth. It is not the ideal event type thing to make with your donors. But people feel like they can come, they want to support us, they can buy that thing we're selling, and they feel like they have participated. But we do a gala that is coming up on May the 9th. I'm really looking forward to May the 10th. So the gala is on May the 9th, and we've been doing that for 29 years. And we are 2 weeks away, and we've sold out. So, and that's about 400 people. And the nice thing about that is, yes, we have auction items, but we put up a lot of vignettes and videos of the work we're doing because we know the majority of the people in that room are going to be our really good donors. So we talk about our successes. We talk about special projects that are coming up. We talk about, hey, look at what we did this last year with the gifts that you gave us. So having that type of event, I think, is really great. Going out and doing every dog wash or every bake sale or sitting up in front of the Dollar General is not going to get you where you need to go. And you're going to burn your people out. You're going to burn your team out. You're going to burn your volunteers and fosters out. There are some of those type things which I think are great if you have the capacity to do them. And if you have volunteers that say, hey, I'll take the puppies to the college, fantastic. But you can also charge for some of that kind of stuff. So don't forget that you don't have to go do every event for free in your community. If they want you to come and be kind of some entertainment there, there's a price you can put on that because they're a corporate group. They can pay you to come. But making sure that you're not focusing so much on all those tiny little fundraisers. Oh, we get 10% back if we eat at such and such tonight. Fine, but if you're focused a lot on that and not on some of your donor stuff, you're missing out. You know, they come in all shapes and sizes and attitudes, don't they? They really do. Really, we usually try to figure out that there's a place for everybody somewhere. Not everyone can do all of the jobs. We have, an orientation process, and we have different trainings that they must go through. That weeds some people out because they don't want to do those trainings. It's not just show up and you're a volunteer. You actually have to kind of go through a program in order to get the training to be able to work with the animals or get the training to be able to, work in our thrift shop or something like that. But, some of them, you just have to take the good with the bad sometimes and recognize that they're there for a reason. Why are they there? What are they getting out of this, and how can I match this with that volunteer? If you have a real problematic volunteer that is just creating havoc and causing problems, you can ask them to leave. You can say, I just don't think this is the right organization for you at this time. Maybe down the road we can find some way to work together. But you also can't put your team, in a situation where they can't get done what they need to get done, or they're always having to kind of babysit this situation. But we do try to find a way for anybody to come and get involved with our organization.
How are we on time? Are we good? Back here, and then there was one up there too, right?
Hi, I recently was employed with a very large nonprofit in the past, so I just wanted to share a couple of things that really helped us out because we only asked for major gifts. So for the person up front that asked about how to meet people, I would recommend the Chamber of Commerce. You don't even have to join them to go to like their free coffee hours, and that way you meet a lot of business owners, which brings me into my next point. When you're wanting to ask for these major gifts, you need to get to the top. So when you're dealing with business owners, it's possible that they know other people in high places. So what we used to do is we had like an executive leadership team was what we called it. And we would ask those people, who do you think could match you in the same capacity as to what you're doing? And then the other thing that I do now currently is we hold like pet fairs, vendor shows where we do charge a fee and we partner with a local business to have it done on their property. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Okay, maybe I'm the last one. Would you put in a word about donor-advised funds, which are an amazing tax benefit to the people? Yeah, and that usually converts to cash, stocks, et cetera, so it makes it easier on the recipients.
Absolutely, and that's something that you need to make sure, and that's why I said make sure you're getting with a financial advisor to learn all those types of things. The donor advised funds, it's a wonderful tax benefit for that individual, and they have to do it after a certain age to get, or no, for not the, yeah, yes. Absolutely, absolutely. So, utilizing, those types of tools are going to make a huge impact for your organization. And these people are savvy. Your donors are savvy, but they don't know all the ins and outs and how it's going to save them. So putting on some sort of a thing with them to talk to them about those programs, especially like the donor advised funds, is going to give them, and hopefully their financial advisor is talking to them. I would make sure that you also talk to the financial advisors in your community and let them know that you're there and able and ready and willing to accept those types of gifts. Because oftentimes people are sitting in with their own financial advisor and they're like, I don't really know. And you want that advisor to also say, well, is there an organization that you want to support? Is there, do you like dogs? Do you like cats? Whatever that is. And so I think that is making sure that you're in contact with those people as well, because they're the ones who are meeting those individuals when they're making those decisions. So I think that's an excellent idea.
I think we've got time maybe for one more.
So my question is mainly about communication. We work with one shelter, but we're trying to expand. We do, if you're on social media, like the second chance, like photos. And she's already has a business, she's already established, but to expand to other shelters, we have to try to get sponsorships because there's equipment and all this that we use. And we're never going to charge a shelter, but we have to fund it somehow. And I think that's getting lost in translation when we try to reach out to businesses or anything, is that we're already established, we're already running, we're already doing this with a shelter. We just need to expand, that's what we're looking for, is sponsorships of that kind.
Well, if you're going to do if you're going to focus on some sort of a sponsorship, we always have like a sponsorship packet that we put together that we submit out to businesses every year, usually in like November of the previous year, because a lot of businesses are making their initial decisions on what kind of gifts they're going to give at the before the beginning of the year. And we make sure that we kind of list out all of the opportunities that we have, whether it's our gala or whether it's sponsoring something like that, and what the benefits to them would be. How are they going to be recognized as a business? Is their logo going to be on the posts every single time? Are they going to get a shout out on the radio? What does that look like? But having that all just kind of bullet pointed out, and maybe even like a couple of pictures of a sample of what that would look like, and then putting that in front of them is really easy for them to look at and go, oh, that'd be cool, and then highlight how many people see it. Knowing that kind of data makes a big difference when they are thinking about how that's going to impact me. Okay. All right, is that it? All right, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for indulging me today. I appreciate it. And my information's up here. If I can be of any service to you or just brainstorm ideas with you, I'm happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendall, so much. The next session in this room will start at 11:15, so we've got a little downtime for a break in between. Kendall, will you be around if people have? Okay, so you may, if you got a question that wasn't answered, you may maybe get a minute with Kendall, but thanks again so much.